Let's talk about focus because most people don't have a problem staying focused while scrolling on social media, watching TV series, or even playing video games for like hours on end. But how about spending half an hour studying or working on a side project? That's where they struggle to stay focused. One might argue that it's obvious why, because one activity is easy and the other one requires effort. But some people seem to have no problem studying, working, or exercising. It's almost unfair how they seem to do it effortlessly. Which begs the question, why are some people able to focus on their long-term goals and stay motivated to do these hard things? And is there a way to make these hard things easier? I believe I cracked the code because I literally went from being the type of person who's like watching 7 TV series at the same time to then becoming the sort of person who's not only doing a full-time PhD, but who's also building a business on the side while staying active, learning different sports. And let me tell you, it took a lot of reflection to understand what was it that allowed me to basically transform my entire life. And while the transformation was radical, I feel like the process wasn't that difficult because I figured some simple strategies that basically tricked my brain into enjoying doing these things that seemed hard at first. So in this video, I'm going to review the strategies that I use to break free from distractions and to focus on what truly matters while enjoying the process. Before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Mary. I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur, and in this channel, I talk about personal growth in a very practical way to help you create a real change in your life. So if that's your vibe, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on creating a wealthier, healthier, and happier life. In my description box, you're going to find free resources that have helped thousands of people build better habits and become more productive. So make sure to check them out. There are 3 strategies I want to share with you guys today. But before we go into them, we need to understand what the true problem is. Because if you're watching this video, you may think that the problem you have is that you can't focus. But that is not the problem. That is just a symptom of the real problem. And to understand what the real problem is, we need to understand a bit of what's going on up here. And that's why we're going to talk a little bit about neuroscience before we go into the strategies. Because if you don't appreciate what's going on in your brain, you will essentially keep doing things that are actually harming and not helping you sustain your focus. What is focus in the first place? Focus is your ability to control and direct your attention toward a thought, a task, or something in your environment, whatever that is. And there is one neurochemical that is particularly related to focus, and that is dopamine, because dopamine plays a crucial role in focus and attention. The biggest misconception out there is that dopamine is related to happiness or pleasure, but that is not quite true. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is released in your brain in anticipation for a reward. So it is much more linked to motivation, the motivation to take action to get a reward. So as you can see, it is like a goal-oriented behavior. There is this famous study where scientists gave rats 2 options. They could choose to climb this small barrier to get a big piece of cheese, which meant that with a little bit of effort, they would get a big reward. But they could also choose to just walk a little bit and get a bit of cheese. So without any effort really, they could get a small reward. They got 2 groups of rats. In the first group of rats, they had their reward dopamine system working perfectly fine. And in the second group, they basically suppressed the receptors of dopamine in their brain reward system. And the results show that rats in the first group, they always chose to climb the barrier to get this big piece of cheese. But the rats in group number 2, they would always choose to have this small piece of cheese, even though they knew that if they climbed over the barrier, they would get a big bigger piece of cheese. So this study shows that dopamine is more about motivation than it is about pleasure. It's more about the motivation to act for a bigger reward than it is for the reward itself, because in both groups, the rats would feel the pleasure of eating the cheese. But in the second group, they didn't have the drive, the motivation to act towards getting the bigger reward. Now, if we were to make an analogy here, right, where the small piece of cheese is social media, video games, or TV series, and the bigger piece of cheese is like the bigger reward you're going for, whether it is getting a degree or a promotion, or looking a certain way, or building a relationship, whatever those bigger things are that you're going for in your life. If we were to take a step back here and pretend we are scientists looking at our own behavior in the past weeks, what would we find? Would we find that we're spending most of our time and our energy working towards the bigger kind of goals we have in life, the bigger rewards? Or are we just constantly consumed by these smaller rewards? So if you find that you're totally consumed by like these small things, you've been spending way too much time on those, that is a strong indication that there is something going on with your dopamine system. So that means you need to do something to reset your dopamine levels to get your brain reward system working fine. That's why strategy number 1 is to do a digital detox to really reset your dopamine levels. I did a digital detox about 6 months ago now, where I completely eliminated social media from my life for over 60 days. And let me tell you, that was life-changing. I was so much more able to focus on work, and not only that, I would enjoy my work-related activities or whatever other mundane tasks I had to do around the house a lot more. And as a result, I wouldn't procrastinate because I just truly started to enjoy those activities, those small things in life. The change was so big that I decided to continue even after those 60 days. It's been 6 months now, so I went from spending like 2 hours on Instagram per day to now I spend less than an hour per week. And I find that that is enough time for me to do what social media is for, which is connecting with my friends and seeing what's going on there. So if you have been struggling to stay focused on the bigger goals that you have in life, I highly recommend that you try doing a digital detox. Identify what is the main source of distraction for you, whether it is social media, TV series, or just playing video games. For different people, it's going to be different things, and commit to eliminating that from your life for a set period of time. In my case, I did 60 days, but if that intimidates you, just make it smaller. Maybe 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever feels right for you. But just know that the longer you do it for, the more of the benefits you are going to notice. And I know that it sounds simple, but in reality, it's not easy to do, especially by yourself. And that is why I'll be hosting a digital detox challenge inside the Life Mastery Club, which is my personal growth community. So if you've been thinking about doing a digital detox, whether it is social media, video games, TV series, whatever, for the longest time, but you haven't actually gotten around to do it, definitely make sure to check out the link in the description below and join the waitlist for the Life Mastery Club, because the group energy there is really going to help you follow through and get all the benefits from doing a digital detox. I've heard from clients in the past that doing a digital detox was truly transformational for them as well, and I'm sure it is going to be for you too. So if you're the type of person who gets a lot from being part of a group of like-minded people, you always find so much motivation and accountability from this connection, definitely make sure to check out the link in the description below. Strategy number 2 is to limit distractions. And the most common mistake I see so many people make is to rely on willpower. That is like them trying to work hard instead of working smart. The best way for you to limit distractions isn't to try to use your phone less. You've probably tried to do that before and you saw how hard that was and how that didn't work at all. Instead, try to automate that. The number one tool that helped me follow through is Opal, which is an app that I have on my iPhone. And that is the easiest way for you to control how you use your phone. So stop trying it the hard way using your willpower and start doing it the smart way by using automation, using technology to do all the hard work for you. And if you use Android, try App Block. This is what one of my clients use and she swears by it. Whatever you choose to do, just don't wake up and go straight into these high stimulation activities because they are essentially draining your dopamine. And then later in the day, when you need dopamine to have the motivation to work, to focus on your tasks, you're not going to have enough in your body to keep you going. If you want to rewire your brain to truly enjoy these activities that create lasting fulfillment in your life, you need to basically stop doing the other ones because the more you do the other ones, the more you will want to do it, the more your brain is going to stay addicted to them. Again, simple, but not easy. Actually, another really helpful tool that I use to stay focused while working on my laptop is the extension Momentum Dash on Google Chrome. So I'll show you guys how it works. I really love this extension for the beautiful images they have in the background here on Google Chrome. And also there is always a very nice quote down here and a motivational mantra. I love it. But up here, you can go into focus mode. And then if you're trying to access, let's say, Instagram, it's essentially going to block it. And you can select here which websites you want to block while on focus mode. So you have it all there. You can choose, let's say Pinterest, sometimes I use for work, so I disabled it. And I love that it counts how much time you have spent focusing during any given day. So at the end of the day, you get like the stats of how much time you focused. I really use it on the days that I'm finding it very difficult to focus, and I swear by it. So yeah, if you find that you always end up in some distracting websites while trying to do work on your laptop, definitely make sure to check out the Momentum Dash extension on Google Chrome. Finally, strategy number 3 is to train your brain to focus, because focus is an ability that you develop. And the thing is, when you're engaging with high stimulating activities like short form content, where there's like so much going on, you're essentially ruining your brain's ability to focus on a single task. Instead, to really develop this skill, you need to start engaging with longer forms of content and things that are less stimulating. And the number one thing I recommend that you do is to read. I wasn't a reader myself, it was an ability that I developed, and let me tell you, at first, it was really hard. But with time, I developed this ability, and now it is something that brings so much joy to my life. If you want to develop the habit of reading, it is really important that you start with books that you're curious about. I personally love non-fiction books, and my reading list is so long that it would probably take me a good 3 lifetimes to go through it. And that's why I love Shortform, which is an app that summarizes non-fiction books. I use it both on my phone and on my laptop. And for those of you who are working on not using so much social media, I highly recommend having it on your phone. And you can use that instead of going on social media. I've got my one open here. I love that you can not only read the book summaries, but also listen to them. As a non-native English speaker myself, I really appreciate having this feature because then I can work on my pronunciation and listening skills as well. So if you're anything like me, you've got more books on your reading list than time to read them, I highly recommend using Shortform, especially because you can read the book summaries while you're on the go. I often find myself listening to them while on the gym or doing something around the house. If you want to try Shortform, I've got a link in the description that gives you free access to short form and then a big discount if you decide to continue using it. I actually have more exercises and tools to share with you guys, but this video is getting a little too long, so I'm gonna cut it here. Let me know in the comments if you want a dedicated video on how to stay laser focused while working or studying, and I can definitely create that one for you guys. And while you're there, I'd love for you to comment what is one strategy or tool or whatever that you're taking from this video, that you're committing to using this week. And if this video inspired you to do a digital detox and you want to do it as part of a group, definitely make sure to join the waitlist for the Life Mastery Club, because we're going to be doing a digital detox there to reset our dopamine levels so we can all focus on the bigger goals and dreams that we have for our lives. If you find that your phone is the biggest source of distraction, definitely make sure to check out this video next, because there I share my productive iPhone setup. I hope to see you there. Bye!